Alright everyone, so I know it feels like the iPhone 15 and the iPhone 15 Pro lineup just released, but it has been 2 to 3 months now at this point, and of course now this means that the iPhone 16 rumor mills have begun and they've started because we all know that Apple plans these iPhones probably years in advance from a feature standpoint and a look and aesthetic standpoint. So we got some new juicy details of what to expect with the iPhone 16 lineup from a hardware perspective. So without further ado, let's see what Apple has in store for us in 2024. Let's get into it. So you might have heard that the Vision Pro should be releasing in Q1 of next year, which gives us about 3 months runway for the Vision Pro to come out. And in lieu of this happening, Apple has actually started to release something by the name of spatial video. Spatial video can now be taken on all iPhone 15 Pros and Pro Maxes, and the reason this is able to be done is because of the actual camera arrangement and how video is being taken on these iPhones. So with the iPhone 12 Pro, 13 Pro, and 14 Pro, the way the cameras were arranged did not allow this to happen. So Apple actually had to flip the telephoto and the ultra wide angle to make sure that the ultra wide and the regular wide angle were in the correct orientation to be able to take this video and be able to take it accurately the way that Apple wanted. So that is why with the new iOS 17 update, we were able to take spatial video on the actual iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max, and will ideally be able to be viewed on the new Vision Pro when it does release, giving you kind of this immersive experience when viewing this content. And that's also why the iPhone 15 lineup isn't able to actually take this video, because yes, it has a wide and an ultra wide lens, but the orientation of the way that these cameras are laid out in that diagonal orientation does not allow for spatial video to really take place. So what Apple's going to be doing with the iPhone 16 lineup is going back to that vertical kind of orientation of the actual camera bump. And we had this with the iPhone 12, but then Apple went and changed it up for the iPhone 13 and 14 and kept it the same way for the iPhone 15 lineup, which was totally fine for most users. But Apple, I think, wants to bring that spatial video feature to the iPhone 16 lineup, so the way they're going to do that is by going back to the vertical orientation. So it looks like Apple's going to be taking a couple of different approaches, or at least some options when it comes to going back to that vertical camera orientation on the iPhone 16 and 16 Plus, because I do believe that's what we're going to get in fall of 2024. But Apple could go back to what the iPhone 12 did originally, which was literally just have 2 separate camera sensors stacked over each other, so it does accomplish the goal of being able to take that spatial video in the future. But then also, there had been some rumors going around that actually Mac Rumors kind of showed off in a render, is that Apple might go back to what the iPhone 10 did and the iPhone 10s did, which was, again, ahead of its time in my opinion, which was to make the camera module look like one actual camera lens and have that house both camera lenses. So it'll be a unified camera bump that does stack up vertically, so it'll have the ultra wide as well as the wide angle lens built in there, but it will still have kind of that camera bump square that Apple has kind of started to adopt since the iPhone, I believe it was the iPhone 11 that first really started to do this. So then the flash and the microphone will be off to the right hand side depending on how you're looking at the orientated iPhone, but it'll be, and then it looks like the flash will be on the right hand side, whereas at the iPhone 10 and 10s, the flash was actually stuck in between the 2 camera lenses, but these camera bumps are getting a little bit bigger, and I think Apple wants to kind of keep it as uniform as possible by keeping it a square camera bump with the lenses off-centered unified on the left-hand side, and then the actual flash on the right-hand side. So this new camera orientation will allow the iPhone 16 models to record in that spatial video, which will be amazing because I'm very curious to get my hands on the Vision Pro and see what spatial video actually feels like and be able to explain that to you guys when it does release, because we will be picking one up to review and kind of play with and give you guys our hands-on impressions, because $3,500 for a product that is a first-gen product is going to be a tough pill to swallow for most people, and a lot of people are going to want to see what us reviewers have to say about this new Vision Pro. And some other rumors that are being thrown around right now is that we should be getting a new mic array on all the iPhone 16 models, because there's going to be a big push forward in having Siri be updated and upgraded to be sort of an AI digital assistant moving forward. Again, Siri has been lacking in comparison to Google and Alexa and things like that, because even though Siri's been getting better and better over time, it is in need of an actual improvement in order for people to really use it, because aside from maybe asking for the weather or asking for it to set a timer, I really don't use Siri that much because there just aren't too many use cases. I really use it as like a currency converter sometimes, and very simple tasks. Like I'm not having a conversation with Siri, whereas with Google, it can kind of go on forever, almost like a ChatGPT. And we should be getting some other features and hardware that will get us to the 2024 standard, like being able to get Wi-Fi 7 and then a new faster 5G modem, which is going to be great to see. And then also, Apple is working on maybe making the iPhone Pro models a little bit bigger, where they will be keeping the same footprint, but maybe moving from 6.1 to 6.3 on the iPhone 16 Pro, and then moving from 6.7 to 6.9 on the iPhone 16 Pro Max, which will be an interesting upgrade because 0.2 inches is going to be a big deal and a big difference in these handheld phones, and we will be getting closer to what the iPad mini is, which I believe is 7.9 inches in the new form factor, or maybe even 8.3. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments down below. So that's what we have so far with the iPhone 16 rumor mill. I know it's still very early, but Apple, like I mentioned earlier, is always kind of in the bleeding edge, and they always know exactly what they have mapped out moving forward. And I think a big push this year in 2024 is going to be for the Vision Pro AR, VR, all that augmented reality and all that good stuff, and using the iPhones kind of as a battleground, or using the iPhones as kind of the way to really translate into the Vision Pro. I think that's what Apple's going to want to do moving forward, especially if they want to get the Vision Pro into the hands of more and more people, because $3,500 for, I guess, it is a standalone computer, but maybe as a accessory to an ecosystem, is going to be a tough one for a lot of people to get on board with, but I'm sure people will buy it and we will be using it in awesome and productive ways. But that will do it for this video. Definitely stay subscribed, because we got some final videos coming up for the end of the year, and I'm excited to get those to you. And then we have 2024 right around the corner, everybody. But that's going to do it. If you guys want to watch some more macOS, iOS, or iPadOS videos, click on one of these right here. And until next time, I'm Fernando, and I'm out of here, everybody. Peace.